he was right, except that he didn't know the half of it. He probably thought it was a woman. Whenever a young man gets depressed, everybody thinks it's a woman. He leaned forward and began to read through the half-finished sheet of typing still in the machine. It was headed, "A Narrow Escape," and it began, "The night was dark and stormy. The wind whistled in the trees. The rain poured down like cats and dogs." Adolf Knipe took a sip of whiskey, tasting the malty bitter flavour, feeling the trickle of cold liquid as it travelled down his throat and settled in the top of his stomach, cool at first, then spreading and becoming warm, making a little area of warmness in the gut. To hell with Mr. John Bolan, anyway, and to hell with the great electrical computing machine. To hell with... At exactly that moment, his eyes and mouth began slowly to open in a sort of wonder, and slowly he raised his head and became still, absolutely motionless, gazing at the wall opposite with this look that was more perhaps of astonishment than of wonder, but quite fixed now, unmoving, and remaining thus for 40, 50, 60 seconds. Then, gradually, the head still motionless, a subtle change spreading over the face, astonishment becoming pleasure, very slight at first, only around the corners of the mouth, increasing gradually, spreading out, until at last the whole face was open wide and shining with extreme delight. It was the first time Adolf Knipe had smiled in many, many months. "Of course," he said, speaking aloud. "It's completely ridiculous." Again he smiled, raising his upper lip and baring his teeth in a queerly sensual manner. "It's a delicious idea, but so impracticable it doesn't really bear thinking about at all." From then on, Adolf Knipe began to think about nothing else. The idea fascinated him enormously, at first because it gave him a promise, however remote, of revenging himself in a most devilish manner upon his greatest enemies. From this angle alone, he toyed idly with it for perhaps 10 or 15 minutes. Then all at once he found himself examining it quite seriously as a practical possibility. He took paper and made some preliminary notes, but he didn't get far. He found himself almost immediately up against the old truth that a machine, however ingenious, is incapable of original thought. It can handle no problems except those that resolve themselves into mathematical terms, problems that contain one, and only one, correct answer. This was a stumper. There didn't seem any way around it. A machine cannot have a brain. On the other hand, it can have a memory, can it not? Their own electronic calculator had a marvellous memory, simply by converting electrical pulses through a column of mercury into supersonic waves. It could store away at least 1,000 numbers at a time, extracting any one of them at the precise moment it was needed. Would it not be possible, therefore, on this principle, to build a memory section of almost unlimited size? Now, what about that? Then, suddenly, he was struck by a powerful but simple little truth, and it was this: that English grammar is governed by rules that are almost mathematical in their strictness. Given the words, and given the sense of what is to be said, then there is only one correct order in which those words can be arranged. No, he thought, that isn't quite accurate. In many sentences, there are several alternative positions for words and phrases, all of which may be grammatically correct. But what the hell? The theory itself is basically true. Therefore, it stands to reason that an engine built along the lines of the electric computer could be adjusted to arrange words instead of numbers in their right order according to the rules of grammar. Give it the verbs, the nouns, the adjectives, the pronouns, store them in the memory section as a vocabulary, and arrange for them to be extracted as required. Then feed it with plots and leave it to write the sentences. There was no stopping Knipe now. He went to work immediately, and there followed during the next few days a period of intense labour. The living room became littered with sheets of paper.